Ryan Reynolds seeking more than $400 million in damages, accusing them of...
Well, Justin Baldoni's attorney, Brian Friedman, tells me they're not done taking legal action following their...
That's Justin Baldoni's lawyer, stepping out of the courthouse after the jaw-dropping revelation. No gag order for Blake Lively. This story has just erupted into something much more explosive. Both Blake and Justin's legal teams walked into what everyone assumed would be a routine pre-trial meeting. No big deal. But it didn't take long for things to take a dramatic turn. The gag order everyone was sure would go through? Instantly shot down. The room tensed up faster than anyone could blink. Rumors started flying that Blake's team had a whole new game plan, one that had them on the offensive instead of playing defense. And just when the drama seemed like it couldn't escalate further, Blake's team dropped a bombshell. They set a deadline. By Valentine's Day, they promised a counterattack. No one knew what that would involve, but just the thought of a legal explosion on the horizon sent shockwaves through the crowd. Reporters scrambled to get more details from anyone they could find. Some whispers hinted that powerful, hidden forces were pulling strings behind the scenes. Others suggested Blake's team was quietly gathering sworn statements from key players who hadn't even been named in the case yet. Meanwhile, Justin's attorney, Brian Friedman...
And honestly, directing myself, a lot of that had to do with, the brilliance of Blake Lively and being able to act.
Gave a quick statement to the press, vowing that his client's innocence would soon be exposed. Amid all the courtroom chaos, one thing was undeniable. Both sides were hell-bent on controlling the narrative, not necessarily solving the case. Whether this strategy would succeed or backfire remained uncertain, but there was no doubt. The drama had everyone hooked. Speculation ran wild. How much further would this conflict spiral? Who else might get dragged into the crossfire? By the time the hearing ended, one thing stood out above all. This legal battle is only just beginning, and its aftershocks could reach far beyond the courthouse. But that was just the tip of the iceberg, a small crack in a story ready to explode. What really had everyone talking were some savage comments aimed at those once considered trusted allies. One conversation, in particular, revealed how something as simple as script revisions turned into a war of accusations, sabotage, and finger-pointing behind closed doors. These people, who had once strutted around as a tight-knit team, suddenly seemed to have cracks in their armor. And those cracks may have been there for much longer than anyone realized. Was this a real attempt to clear Justin's name, or was it a calculated smear campaign targeting others? Either way, it made everyone watching this case wonder. How much of Hollywood's shiny facade is nothing more than an illusion? But as if that wasn't shocking enough, the website footer dropped a cryptic message hinting that even more
For some reason, she doesn't have her sh for socks. She has a C for socks. So she's like, yay!
Potentially more jaw-dropping than before, were on the way. It felt like the entire situation was a high-stakes chess game, every move designed to catch the other side off guard. But for those who thought the timeline was the most shocking part, they hadn't heard about Ryan Reynolds' bombshell change of heart. Ryan had once been seen as Justin's close friend and partner. Early on, the two were always seen together at fundraisers, charity events, and behind-the-scenes moments, exchanging warm smiles and glowing words. Ryan even went as far as calling Justin a wonderful collaborator, praising his dedication to every project. At the time, that praise seemed genuine, especially with the way they looked at each other in public. But the whole image came crashing down when private texts from just a few months later surfaced. In these messages, Ryan allegedly called Justin a deranged predator, a revelation that left fans in total shock, especially those who thought the two shared a bond of mutual respect. It was a complete 180 from Ryan's earlier admiration. Fans couldn't stop asking, what happened? Did Ryan discover something new? Or was he...
It's believing that people and humanity are inherently good.
Hello? Forced to shift his stance for reasons unknown. The speculation went wild, from creative clashes to accusations that tainted the final stages of their projects. Some conspiracy theorists even suggested that these sudden shifts were part of a strategic move orchestrated by a rival camp, aiming to create a rift between these big names. Meanwhile, in the eye of this storm, Blake emerged as a fierce protector, not just of her own reputation but also of her closest allies, especially Taylor Swift. Reports quickly surfaced that Blake was pushing for a special protective order to prevent the legal system's massive discovery process from dragging third parties into the mess. This move suggested the real possibility that some seriously high-profile names could get caught up, people who might have texted, emailed, or shared sensitive details at some point. And when Taylor Swift's name was suddenly brought into the mix, public interest reached a whole new level. The burning question on everyone's mind? Had the pop sensation unknowingly gotten caught up in this messy web of drama?
Act with this powerhouse and react in real time and she was so generous.
One thing was crystal clear. Blake was gearing up to fight like hell in court, especially if it meant protecting her inner circle from unwanted exposure. With tensions already running high, a new question emerged. Would this protective order really be enough, or was it just the first sign that things were about to get a whole lot messier? For those watching this unfold day after day, it felt like a ticking time bomb, with the fuse dangerously close to blowing. Then came the jaw-dropping revelation about the intimacy coordinator, a seemingly innocuous title that, in this case, hinted at how deep this whole situation might really go. While the role usually sounds like a behind-the-scenes formality, its presence often signals heightened caution when filming sensitive scenes. But whispers began to swirl that the intimacy coordinator could stir up major conflicts over creative control, personal boundaries, and who would take the fall if things went south. The coordinator allegedly organized a crucial meeting that many cast members eagerly attended to discuss potential issues and make sure everyone felt safe. But Blake, she was nowhere to be found. Some dismissed her absence as nothing more than a scheduling issue or personal choice. But others pounced on this, speculating that there were deeper unspoken issues, awkward encounters, simmering resentments, that could have ignited the entire controversy. Critics of the production pointed to these secretive moments as signs that far bigger scandals were lurking beneath Hollywood's pristine, well-groomed PR image. Meanwhile, Blake's defenders argued that she was no rookie when it came to on-set protocols and didn't need any refresher courses. But by this point, the situation had exploded into a tangled mess, involving not just the stars but also the lesser-known crew members, who were now being grilled about everything, from the fine details of their NDAs to how long their private meetings had lasted. And little did anyone know, the testimonies from various cast and crew members.
And Colleen, this story is so personal to you. Tell me why Blake and Brandon were the ones.
We're about to send this wild ride into a whole new jaw-dropping direction. Until recently, several major players had been firmly in Justin Baldoni's corner. Take Brandon Siner, for example, a close collaborator of Justin's, who once couldn't stop praising his warmth and team spirit. Publicly, it seemed like they were living the dream. No on-set tension, the cast bonding like family and morale soaring. It was a perfect picture of Hollywood harmony. But that flawless image came crashing down when leaked text messages exposed a completely different reality. In these private conversations, the same people who had once showered Justin with praise now revealed deep concerns and even distrust. Some admitted they had been pressured to put on a happy face for the public, terrified of the fallout if they didn't stick to the company line. The stark contrast between the polished public image and the raw behind-the-scenes truth was impossible to ignore, and it left everyone questioning. What was really going on? It forced the public to face a chilling possibility. Hollywood wasn't just about red carpets and smiles. There was a much darker, more complicated side lurking beneath, full of unspoken tensions and hidden contradictions. As for Blake, she had also earned a reputation for being warm and welcoming, making everyone around her feel at ease. Cast and crew fondly recalled her thoughtful gestures, small gifts, casual get-togethers, and a personal touch that lifted everyone's spirits. But that sweet image didn't quite match up with her current role as the architect of a brutal legal battle. She was preparing to drop explosive documents that could ruin reputations, and fans couldn't help
working under an editor. She said the most difficult person that she has ever worked with and the rudest person that she had ever worked with was Blake Lively.
But wondered, were those kind gestures just part of her showbiz facade, empty pleasantries meant to shield herself? Or was there once genuine goodwill, now buried under layers of betrayal and hidden motives? With each new twist in this saga, one thing became clear. This story was far more complicated than anyone had imagined. The laughter once shared on talk shows now felt like a distant memory, as former friends and collaborators were now communicating through lawyers and carefully worded statements. The drama had escalated far beyond typical celebrity gossip, revealing a high-stakes game where a single leaked document or a few revealing text messages could obliterate reputations and relationships in an instant. But this was no mere personal dispute. It was quickly becoming clear that the fallout from this case could change the way Hollywood handles internal drama from here on out. Blake's push for a protective order, designed to shield third parties like Taylor Swift from the discovery process, signaled a shocking truth. No one, no matter how famous, was safe from being dragged into this mess. And with the Valentine's Day deadline looming, the tension only intensified. Speculation reached a fever pitch. Once Blake's team filed their counterattack, would all hell break loose? Would even more text messages, insider stories, or explosive depositions be unleashed? Could suppressed emails or hidden video footage finally make its way to the surface? And if they did, how would they shift the public's view of the key players involved? But the stakes weren't just about
Friedman tells me they're not done taking legal action following their lawsuit against the New York Times, adding that he plans to release even more text messages between
who's revealing what. This had the potential for far-reaching consequences. Ryan Reynolds, Blake Lively, and other A-listers usually have enough star power to weather any storm. But this time, it seemed like even they could face lasting damage. Would studios still want to hire someone embroiled in such a high-profile legal battle? And could fan loyalty survive if the final bombshells were too much to handle? As the drama unfolded and each new leak hit the headlines, one thing became undeniable. This storm wasn't anywhere near over. Justin Baldoni's stance was crystal clear, bolstered by a mountain of documents and a well-crafted website that left no room for doubt about his version of events. Ryan Reynolds' jaw-dropping turnaround, from praising Justin as a trusted collaborator to branding him a threat, spoke volumes about the simmering tension that had likely been brewing for far longer than anyone realized. Meanwhile, Blake Lively made it abundantly clear. She wasn't just defending her name, but also protecting her friends and her brand, even if it meant detonating a legal bombshell right in the middle of this all-consuming public spectacle. But what truly fuels this fire are the questions surrounding all those glowing testimonials from the cast. What happened to the...
I mean, honestly, the way that I get into a character is through their style. So it was more about who Lily is that was so fast.
Those heartwarming stories when whispers behind the scenes told a much darker tale. The contrast was staggering. The public show of unity, now shattered by the private tensions coming to light. Who can you trust and who's just playing the game? This isn't just a legal battle. It's a Hollywood thriller packed with espionage, shifting alliances, and jaw-dropping betrayals. Protective orders requested for pop stars, explosive motions filed in court. It's all building to a climax that could rock the entire industry to its foundation. The real question is, can any of these shattered relationships ever be repaired now that so many dark secrets have been laid bare for the world to see? This could be the wake-up call for anyone living in the spotlight. In today's
between the co-stars, Friedman insists the truth is in those documents and that Blake Lively is the one who used her power and influence to take control of the film.
Middle age, secrecy is a luxury few can afford, and friendships forged in the public can collapse in an instant the moment doubt creeps in. If there's one lesson to take away from this chaotic mess, it's this: no amount of fame or fortune can protect you when a storm of this magnitude hits. With so many moving parts, one thing's for certain. The next twist could completely flip everything on its head, catching us all off guard. Valentine's Day is just around the corner, and who knows what explosive revelation is ready to detonate. As this story continues to unfold, there's always something new around the corner. Don't miss out on the next shocking bombshell. Like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you're the first to know when the truth comes crashing through.